Right, good morning, welcome back. Routine maintenance today, something all of us have to do, but oh so many of us seem to neglect. And of all the maintenance tasks that we're prone to neglect, it seems that brake and clutch fluid is the number one. And yeah, brake fluid again, mundane I know, but routine maintenance is essential if you want your motorcycle to be reliable. And is there anything more important than brakes? Obviously not. So having seen the title and opened this video, you're either looking to do your brake fluid today and you're looking for some guidance, or you're a long-term regular viewer, thank you for that, and you can put this one in your saved box and you can use it in the future because at some point you will need to do your brake fluid at least every 2 years depending on where you ride. So here it is, brake and clutch fluid, Honda CB1300. Now this is all the equipment you'll need for the job, a few hand tools, pair of gloves, bottle of brake fluid and a jar and a tube. This is old school as the hills. These were the tools needed for the job in the 1950s or earlier, so it doesn't get any easier than that. Or if you want to invest, like I did, get yourself a vacuum bleeder and make it even easier. Now bleed valves, which you're going to interact with every time you get involved in a job like this, they can be a source of great heartache because they can be quite tight. They haven't been undone sometimes for 2 years or longer, and they can stick. And when you come to undo them, you can have this problem. Now these bleed valves, they're an 8mm metric spanner, and if you put it on there, you'll see, look at the amount of slop. And this is an almost new spanner, so it's not stretched, but look at that. That's just the way it is. And if they're really tight, being an open ender, just pushing on 2 sides, that is when they can slip and round off. So try a 5/16 AF ring spanner. Not only being a ring spanner does it grip all the way around the bleed valve, less likely to slip and ring it off. Also, it's a tiny bit smaller. It fits, but it's way more snug. So again, less likely to slip and ring it off. Now the rear fluid reservoir is here, hidden behind the foot peg mount. You can either take the mount bolts out, take the exhaust bolt out and remove that for access, or take one bolt out and just bring the reservoir itself out into the daylight. 5mm Allen key. You just pull it out and it will dangle on its hose. Bit of common sense, bit of old coat hanger wire, and just bend it around till it sits level. Now it might seem like overkill, but brake fluid in your eye can spoil your morning, so do some PPE. Just for proof it needs doing. There, over 4% water in the brake fluid, definitely needs changing. Now basically a brake fluid change is a transfusion. You're chasing the old brake fluid through with new fresh clean brake fluid, and there's no point in pushing that filthy waterlogged fluid through the system and through the caliper if you don't have to. So we'll tip that out before we start, and then we'll put fresh stuff in and begin pushing it through. I'll pop the bleeder tube on with the valve open. Pull the trigger and it will start to suck the fluid through. Now suck the fluid down to the bottom of the reservoir, but don't let it suck any air in, otherwise you're making life harder. Wait till there's just a thin amount in the bottom, then top it up and keep doing that about 4 times. Lock off the bleed valve. Then just check the brake pedal Make sure it's nice and firm and you haven't introduced maybe a little bit of air into it somehow and you've got a spongy lever, then it needs some conventional bleeding in the normal way to get it nice and stiff. But in this case, that is rock solid. Take the vac tube off, pop dust cap back on. And finally, top up your fluid just under the upper mark there. Final test. There. 1%, and you get that in a fresh bottle. Just nip it up. Right, next we'll do the clutch. I just mark where the gear selector is, so that when I put it back, it will be in the same place. Right there. 10mm socket. Take this bolt all the way out and remove it. And then let the gear shifter off. 5mm Allen key. 3 screws. Hold the cover on. Take the plastic cover off. And as we can see with these bikes, this is just a plastic dress cover with a thick layer of sound deadening foam inside it. Typical Honda trait to make the bike smoother and quieter. But underneath it, in there, everything is business as usual. It's still got a front sprocket cover as normal. There's your coolant pump, and there is your clutch slave cylinder with its bleed valve right there. Your spanner on and your vac hose on top of it. Protect your paintwork. And obviously with the handlebars you can't tip the old fluid out, so you have to suck it out, and the best thing to do it with is a big old syringe. And do your valve up, just nip it and take the vac tube off, there, and check clutch is working nice and crisp, and that is, and top up the reservoir. Right, this vacuum bleeder, it actually has 2 hoses. I've only been using one so far because there's only one caliper and one slave cylinder. But on the front brakes, there's 2 calipers at the same time, and it has 2 hoses, so I can actually flush them at the same time. All I've been doing so far is I poke a number plate screw in one of them to seal it, to maintain the vacuum in the system while I'm using just one. And now for the front, I'm going to use them both. You do it like this. Right, now this vacuum system has a T-piece, as you can see here, so it sucks in through one central hose, meaning there's the same amount of vacuum coming in each of these two hoses, and you can actually bleed through both calipers at the same time. Just make sure that both these hoses have a perfect straight route back to the T-piece. Neither of them are kinked or folded on each other, which will prevent the vacuum from sucking the fluid out. So once you've taken a bit of time to set the system up so both the hoses are looped exactly the same and you're all ready to go, then it's the same old procedure as before. Right, same as before, check the levers nice and firm, nice and solid, not spongy or anything, and that is absolutely rock solid. Now we can button it up. Okay, in real time, that's about an hour of your life, is all that would take you once every 2 years. Now, if you go to the main dealer for your brand of motorcycle, whether it be Honda or Harley Davidson, whatever, a brake fluid change alone, I saw an invoice on my Harley for £99 for a full brake fluid change, and Honda would be about the same. If you add the clutch fluid to that, you'd be looking at about £140 to £150 for a full hydraulic fluids change. And that's quite a lot of money, unless you choose to do it yourself. Now you can do this the old-fashioned way with a jam jar and a piece of tube, opening and closing and pumping and all that stuff I've demonstrated a million times. But there is a knack to that. And I've had plenty of messages from people who've been at it 3 days to get all the air out, and they're going insane trying to get it right. So yes, that can be a bit of a challenge, but using a piece of equipment like this means it is child's play. Absolutely anyone can do it. Connect it up, pull the trigger, and stand back while it does it for you. Piece of cake. You just need the vacuum bleeder and a compressor. Now, a compressor is a sizable investment, granted, and I imagine more riders want one than actually have one. But for those of you who do have a compressor in your life, then investing in some air equipment is a sensible thing to do. And one of these will set you back just under £40. The specialised oil and brake fluid syringe, just under £30. And the brake fluid tester pen, again, just under £40. So for the price of these three all together and a litre of brake fluid, you still wouldn't be spending as much money as one dealer all-round fluid change. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Take it easy, ride safe, and I'll see you next time.